Let's take a look at the Ranger batting order today. Bump Wills will lead off and play second base. Johnny Grubb in left field hitting second. Al Oliver batting third and center. Buddy Bell, the third baseman, in the cleanup spot. Richie Zisk hitting fifth in right field. Oscar Gamble, designated hitter, will bat sixth. Jim Sundberg catching, batting seventh. Rookie Pat Putnam at first base hitting eighth. And Nelson Norman, the shortstop, will bat ninth. Ferguson Jenkins on the mound. For the New York Yankees, the same lineup as last night. Mickey Rivers in center field leading off. Willie Randolph at second base hitting second. Thurman Munson behind the plate batting third. Reggie Jackson in the cleanup spot. He's in right field. Greg Nettles, third baseman, will bat fifth. Chris Chambliss at first base hitting sixth. Roy White in left field batting seventh. Designated hitter Jim Spencer will bat eighth. Bucky Dent will be at shortstop. He'll hit ninth. And Catfish Hunter on the mound. We remind you that Citation, the first Chevrolet of the 80s, will be given away Saturday, May 5th at Arlington Stadium by the Dallas County Chevrolet dealers. Register now and register often at your Dallas or Tarrant County Chevrolet dealer. You need not be present to win, but remember, May 5th is Citation Night at Arlington Stadium, sponsored by your participating Dallas County Chevrolet dealers.
Take a look at the New York Yankees defense as we go around the infield. Chris Chambliss at first base. Willie Randolph will be playing second, as Eric mentioned. Same lineup as last night, identically. The exception of the pitcher, Bucky Dent at shortstop. Third baseman Greg Nettles, who had a couple of spectacular defensive plays last night. In the outfield, you've got Roy White playing in left field. The center fielder is Mickey Rivers. And Reggie Jackson in right. We're set to play baseball. Absolutely gorgeous day, as we said. Temperatures in the 70s makes a great day to be alive. As Catfish Hunter deals to Bump Wills. First pitch of the ball game is outside and low. Count of 1 ball and no strike. Catfish says this is going to be his last year in baseball.
And he has not gotten off to a very good start. Catfish was roughed up last Saturday in his only start of the season. He was knocked out in the second inning by the Chicago White Sox. Yanks came back and won the game.
3 balls and no strikes on Bump Wills. Bump is batting 185 as a left-handed hitter, 333 from the right side, 222 total as he draws a pass to open up the ball game. 4 straight pitches.
And Catfish was way off the plate in those pitches. He is a control pitcher and needs to have that pinpoint control because he is not overpowering. He throws a fastball, a curve, and a slider. But his real strength, just like Ferguson Jenkins, is in moving the ball around, in and out, off the corners, and changing speeds extremely well.
John Grubb stepping in, batting at 143. Broke out of a slump last night with a pop fly single down the left field line as he came on in a pinch hitting role in the ball game. And Chambliss holding Bump Wills at first base. Catfish Hunter deals to Grubb, squares around for the bunt, takes a strike. Hunter, the comeback kid of the Yankees last year. Finished 1978 winning 9 of his last 11 decisions. Was 6-0 during the month of August. Had a 1.64 ERA during that month. There goes Bump Wills. The throw by Munson down to second. They got him. Munson to Bucky Dent. And Wills is out of there trying to steal.
And that's the first time this season that Bump has been thrown out. Got a pretty good jump, but Munson with a tremendous throw here as you look at it again. And despite tagging Wills on the back, Bucky Dent got him before that foot got into the bag. So Bump is now 5 out of 6 this year.
1-1 pitch to John Grubb. Check swing foul and a nice stop.
Well, Thurman Munson has already answered some questions about his throwing arm. He underwent a shoulder operation in January, and it was thought that maybe he would not be able to throw full strength till later on in the season.
1-2 delivery is way outside.
Thurman and his Yankee counterpart, Jerry Narron, have combined to throw out 5 of the 7 runners who have tried to steal against them so far.
2-2 pitch. Grubb right at the second baseman. Randall slips and falls, gets up in time to throw him out. Found a wet spot there on the edge of the outfield grass. 2 men are out. You see Randolph loses footing here just as he fields this ball on the edge of the grass. It recovers nicely. 2 men out, nobody on base. Al Oliver working on a 10-game hitting streak for the Texas Rangers. He says that Hunter usually tries to keep the ball away from him. Anytime you get an inside pitch, it'll be way inside. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. Oliver batting at .447. Had 1 hit last night. That was a double. In fact, it was the first hit of the ball game for the Rangers off Ed Figueroa. Came in the 6th inning.
And Al still trailing Alan Trammell of the Detroit Tigers in the American League batting race. Trammell did not play yesterday.
2-1 pitch. Al thought about it for a moment, and the count goes to 3 balls and 1 strike. Oliver shoots a look down at Frank Lucchese, coaching in the third base slot. Line shot, curving foul. Out of play. Rangers return home Monday night to open up a 3-game series against the Toronto Blue Jays. 7:30 game time at Arlington Stadium. Doyle Alexander will be the Ranger pitcher. Doc Ellis is scheduled to go tomorrow against Ron Guidry in the finale of this 3-game series. Hit well. Jackson over toward the line. That'll off the wall. But Jackson will hold him to a single. Doing a good job fielding that thing off the base of the left field wall, of the right field wall.
There's your basic 320-foot single that Al Oliver extends his hitting streak up to 11 games.
Jackson never had a chance at that thing because it was curving over to the foul line, so he very wisely elected to play it off the base of the wall. Cleanup hitter Buddy Bell. He and Oliver are now tied for the club lead in the RBI department with a total of 10.
Buddy says that over the years he has not hit Catfish Hunter very well, that Catfish has had good success against him by changing speeds and never giving him anything over the heart of the plate, just nipping at the corners.
Bell went 0 for 4 last night. Takes a look at a slider for a strike on the outside corner. Cat made just 1 start against the Rangers last year. Beat him in one of our television games 8-1. That was back in August. He went 8 innings in that game and gave up just 3 hits and no runs. He has won his last 4 decisions over the Rangers and hasn't lost to him since June of 1976. In fact, he has won more games against the Rangers than any other pitcher in the American League. Slowly hit to Bucky Dent. In time to Randolph. And that's it for the Rangers in the first inning. He'll get a hit and a walk, but can't do anything with it. At the end of 1/2 inning of play, Rangers nothing, Yankees coming to bat.
Friday, May 4th at Arlington Stadium, youngsters 13 and under will receive a certificate good for an official Junior League bat. Also a discount coupon on the purchase of a 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola. And that's not all. Minyards will also give away 9 $50 gift certificates, plus 1 case of Coca-Cola a week for a full year to 9 lucky fans. 9 fans will also win 50,000 S&H green stamps, so be sure to stop by any one of the 50 Minyard stores now and register for those gift certificates. Don't miss this year's Minyard Bat Night, Friday, May 4th, the Rangers and the Chicago White Sox.
Last half of the first inning, as you got to look there at the Rangers defense. Mickey Rivers will lead it off, followed by Willie Randolph and Thurman Munson. Fergie Jenkins on the hill for Texas. It's a thrill for Fergie today because this is his first start ever in Yankee Stadium. He's pitched against the Yankees before in New York, but that was a chase. There's a base hit past Putnam. That goes into the corner. Zisk trying to run it down. Rivers will get at least 2 on it, and he's going to go for 3. Here comes the relay from Bump Wells. It'll be close, and Bell puts it on, and he's safe. Bell can't believe it. Here comes Corrales. Johnny Grubb was also out there backing it up.
I'm sure we'll get another look at this one. Look at Corrales chasing third base umpire Merrill Hadry, and here's the ball down the right field line past Putnam. As you see, Rivers heading for second base. Very close play at third. As the relay comes in, Bump Wills with a throw to Bell.
I believe they just blew one.
Looked out from here. Corrales left his hat on the edge of the dugout dirt.
Oh,
here's another look. Let's see where he tags him here. Is the foot already on the base? Right now. Oh, that's about as close as you can get.
Willie Randolph standing in as the Ranger infield draws in. As Texas got off to a bad start last night as the Yankees scored 2 in the first and 2 in the second off Steve Comer, and the Rangers were never really in that ball game. Randolph taken outside and low, and the count is 2 balls and no strikes.
Rangers had a good 9th inning threat last night, but Dick Tidrow came on to put out the fire after the first 2 Rangers got on in the 9th inning. Tidrow pitching because Rich Gossage is out of action with a sprained thumb.
That's a strike. Infield is actually about at half depth. And we've got some work going on immediately in the Ranger bullpen. That may be somebody just getting in their work. I don't think they're going to be warming somebody up this early.
Gossage got that sprained thumb in a clubhouse scuffle, as it's being termed, with Cliff Johnson following Thursday's game. And Gossage will be out at least a week. The New York papers were just blaring the headlines about that today.
There must have been some collision. Those are the 2 biggest guys in the ball club, maybe 2 of the biggest in the league. That's Dawn Alexander warming up, so he's probably just getting in some work between starts. He's scheduled to pitch on Monday. Back to Fergie, holds Rivers at third base and throws him out. 1 away as Randolph hits the comebacker. But trouble ahead now as Munson will be followed by Jackson in the Yankee batting order. Munson singled his first 2 times up last night. Knocked in runs. Right back to the mound. He looked at third here. And then he really rifled a bullet at Pat Putnam. Munson hitting at .250. In addition to this being Fergie's first start at Yankee Stadium, it is also his 36th birthday, and one of his admirers back in Texas sent him a bouquet of a dozen roses. And he wanted us to acknowledge that. Little tapper down to third base side. Jenkins throws. He got him. And again, Rivers had to hold.
And that was a fine play by Jenkins. He had to get off the mound in a hurry on that one and make a good throw to Putnam. Here it is. Munson, for a catcher, doesn't have bad speed, but still not exactly a speed merchant, and they got him by half a stride.
Reggie Jackson off to a pretty good start for the Yankees in 1979. Had a couple of base hits against the Rangers last night, knocked in a run. Rivers leads away at third base. 2 men are out now, so the infield is back to normal depth. Outfield deep and shaded just slightly around to the right side.
Reggie's off to a real good start for him. He is normally a very slow starter.
In addition to being Fergie's birthday today, it is also the 2-year-old birthday of his daughter Kimberly. So it's a big day for the Jenkins family in many ways. 2 balls and no strikes the count on Reggie Jackson. No score, last of the first. Yankees threatening after a leadoff triple by Mickey Rivers, but he's still sitting there now after 2 men are out.
I would imagine Reggie has a green light here. Fergie will usually come right down the pipe on 3-0. Not that time.
Lost him. So Jackson at first, Rivers at third, and Greg Nettles will be the hitter. We had a nice conversation with Greg after the ballgame last night. He seemed like a very, very fine gentleman, in addition to being an outstanding baseball player.
Certainly an articulate young man, and he had an awful lot of quips last year that got national publicity. He was the man who said, take a look at Sparky Lyle, last year's Cy Young, this year's Sayonara.
That's right. Nelson Norman will make the force play on Jackson, and the Rangers get out of it unscathed. At the end of 1, it's the Yankees nothing and the Rangers nothing.
Gee, it's hard to face giving up taste when you give up calories.
Have a diet drink.
The taste isn't much of a treat.
This is sugar-free Dr. Pepper.
Wow!
Sugar-free Dr. Pepper tastes fattening, but it's not. How can sugar-free taste so sugar-full? What a great taste this one's got. How did they make so few calories taste like such a lot? Sugar-free, Dr. Pepper, tastes fattening, but it's not.
The people at Fabergé send me lots of great products to use. Hey, today they sent me some Brute 33 antiperspirant, the aerosol spray, the easy roll-on, the antiperspirant stick, and the non-aerosol spray. And they all have the great smell of Brute. Plus, they help keep you dry and give you great deodorant protection. Hey, you think they're trying to tell me something? Brute 33 antiperspirant, 4 great ways to use it.
Dan Burns will never see another holiday weekend because somebody didn't see Dan Burns. If only Dan had a flashlight when he got out to look at the flat tire. He might be home by now. Don't you take chances. Make sure every car you own has a flashlight and batteries that work. Your life could depend on it. Ever-Ready wants you to know.
Rangers nothing, the Yankees nothing. As we go to the second, it'll be Richie Zisk, Oscar Gamble, and Jim Sundberg for the Rangers to face Catfish Hunter. Well, Fergie really pitched himself out of a hole after the leadoff batter, Mickey Rivers, came up with a triple. And Jenkins retired the next 3 hitters without allowing the run to score. Zisk, first ball hitting, and her first ball swinging and being fooled rather badly. Richie is batting at .286, 4 hits and 14 swings. That's another strike.
There's the same pitch again, slow breaking ball.
So Catfish way out in front of the count here on Zisk. Hits that one well, and it may drop in. It does in front of Mickey Rivers in left center field, and Zisk has him a single. So after Catfish got the 0-2 count on Zisk, that one got away from him. Hit number 2 for the Rangers and brings on Oscar Gamble, the designated hitter. Oscar's been wearing that cowboy hat all around New York. He claims he got it from Buddy Bell. I don't know who Buddy got it from. Foul back up on the second deck.
You know, we mentioned Hunter's comeback last year, the fact that he went 9-2 in his last 12 starts. That was following a medical technique called shoulder manipulation, which really saved Catfish's career. We'll talk a bit more about that.
Missed outside, and the count is 1-1.
Before Catfish underwent the treatment, he had a 6.51 earned run average. And after it, he racked up a 2.23 earned run average.
In the hole. Past the reach of Bucky Dent. And the Rangers have back-to-back singles to start the second inning. Zisk moves down to second. And the catcher, Jim Sundberg, is due up. Yankees have now extended their win streak over the Rangers to 4 games with the victory last night. New York defeated Texas the last 3 times that the 2 teams met last season.
Yankees are looking for the bunt here. They have Nettles and Chambliss in at the corners. Second base and shortstop at double play depth.
Sundberg squaring around a bunt, taking the pitch. 1-0. Plate umpire is Harold Soroka. He's calling the balls and strikes. Dick Nelson at first. Phil Lospitalier at second. And Merrill Hedry is at third. He's the one that got in the rhubarb a moment ago. There's the bunt by Sundberg. Foul.
Sonny's going to have to lay down an awfully good bunt to get it past either Nettles or Chambliss. They are breaking right down the line, and the way it looks, the best shot Sonny might have is to try and bunt the ball about midway between the base and the mound on either side and try and get it past Hunter. If he does that, I think he's got himself a base hit. But they are really playing for the sacrifice.
Rangers could use a victory here. They've got Guidry facing them tomorrow. Runners are on the move, and he's hitting away, and he pumps it to left center field, and that's going to be in for extra bases. Here is Zisk, tearing around third base. Oscar Gamble right behind him. 2 runs will score, and Sundberg is in with a triple. Zisk held up for a moment because he thought that ball was going to be caught, and Gamble almost ran him down at third base. He couldn't have been more than 2 steps behind him.
Here it is again. It was up and into Sundberg. And Sonny pulled it right up the gap there in left center field, and you get one between the outfielders there. You're going to get a triple no matter who you are.
That's the famous Death Valley here at Yankee Stadium. The deepest part of the ballpark, 430 feet away, is in left center field. It's deeper there than it is in straightaway center. So 2 runs are home for the Rangers. Still nobody out. Sundberg on at third base, and the hitter is Pat Putnam. 3 straight hits to start the second inning of Catfish Hunter. And the Rangers have a chance to do some real damage. Yankee infield, as you can see, is drawn in. Trying to cut the run down at the plate. That's foul. So Texas, far cry from last night when the Rangers waited until the 6th inning to pick up their first hit. They already have 4 here in the second inning with nobody out.
And Pat Putnam was the final out last night in a pinch hitting appearance. He had a perfect 3-for-3 pinch hitting until Tidrow struck him out.
1-1 pitch. Fly ball straight away center field. Sundberg tagging at third base. Rivers makes the catch. Sonny digging for the plate. He'll make it easily. Sacrifice fly for Pat Putnam. Rangers lead it 3-0. 1 out, nobody on base in the second inning. We go to the bottom of the batting order now for the shortstop, Nelson Norman. Norman did not start last night. Campaneris did. But he came on in the late innings after Campy was pinch hit for. 1-0 pitch is high. Norman batting at .250, 5 hits and 20 swings thus far. Reggie Jackson, 2 away. Two men out, nobody on base. To the top of the order for Bump Wills, who walked his first time up and then was thrown out for the first time this year, trying to steal second.
And the Yankees are looking for a possible bunt from him. Nettles is in a few strides on the grass. On the first base side, however, Chambliss is playing him fairly deep, and if Bump were to drag one down the first base side, he'd have a pretty good chance.
Rangers are 2 games behind the California Angels, who have now won 9 in a row, their longest win streak in 15 years. They're even with the Angels in the loss department. And, of course, the Yankees and the Red Sox are just about in a dead heat for first place in the Eastern Division of the American League. 1-2 the count on Wills. Hunter deals, well hit. Nice backhand stop by Willie Randolph. And the Rangers are retired in the second inning, but not before. They come up with 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors, and nobody left on base. At the end of 1.5, it's the Texas Rangers 3 and the New York Yankees nothing. Chris Chambliss leads it off in the Yankee half of the second inning as he faces Fergie Jenkins. Fergie with a little cushion to work on now as the Rangers provided him with 3 runs in the top half of the inning. Chambliss, Spencer, and White will be the first 3 batters. That will be foul out of play. Another good crowd on hand, probably in the 25,000-30,000 range, I would imagine, on a beautiful sunshiny afternoon at Yankee Stadium. Temperature right around the 70-degree mark, just perfect for playing baseball. 1-1 pitch. Took something off of it, a little bit outside.
Chambliss is a guy who is tough to get on bad pitches. He's a very consistent hitter, rarely gets into a slump. He's selective up there.
He hit .325 against the Rangers last year. Fouls that one off down the left field side. Hitting only .217 so far this year. He has 2 home runs. 2-2 pitch by Fergie. Lashed on the ground to Putnam. Nice play. And Pat takes it by himself. It's 1 away. Putnam showing a pretty good glove.
Number 6, Roy White.
That was apparently a pretty good battle that Cliff Johnson and Gossage had in the locker room. They announced it in the press box last night as a scuffle. But there were those in attendance who said it was a little more than that. Had some great lines come out of it, too. Somebody asked Jay Johnstone about it, and he said, well, it happened in the bathroom. And I don't usually hang around the bathroom that much, so I wasn't there. Again, Putnam, but this was foul.
How about Reggie? Reggie says after this, the big guy with the boats is going to be here awfully soon.
An obvious reference to owner George Steinbrenner.
George was out of town on some shipbuilding business, and it is expected he will be back.
There were television news crews following Johnson all over the ballpark today, but he wasn't talking. Of course, he's liable to come out on the short end of this thing between Gossage and Johnson. Johnson just being a fringe player.
They're not going to get rid of Gossage, that's for sure.
1-1 pitch to Spencer, or rather to Roy White. I've got him reversed in my batting order. Do you?
I think the original batting order had Spencer ahead of White. He changed that one just before game time. But Bob Lemon even showed some uncharacteristic anger. When asked by newsmen last night, he said, yes, I'm angry. He said, I'm damn angry. And Lemon last year rarely got upset by anything.
2-2 pitch outside.
Both players will be heavily fined by the front office, it has been said. And as you imply, Frank, we would imagine there is a pretty good chance that Cliff Johnson may be playing elsewhere before very long, or not playing elsewhere.
Putnam, easy grounder. Underhands it to Fergie. 2 away. Tell you something, the Yankees haven't hit a ball out of the infield on Jenkins yet. 2 outs, nobody on base. Jim Spencer, the designated hitter. He'll be followed by Bucky Dent, number 9 hitter in the order. I say Gossage will miss at least a week. Otherwise, chances are we would have seen him last night late in the ball game when Tidrow came on. And they were thinking of fining him in the area of, the amount of salary that he'd miss in that week's time. And when you figure the guy makes $450,000 a year, a week during the season may cost him a pretty penny.
And it's more serious than it would otherwise be because Gossage missed much of spring training with an infected toe. And he was not even in shape yet. He had not pitched well in his early outings, had not rounded into form. Now he has to go at least a week before he can even start throwing again.
The guy is smirking about the whole thing with Sparky Lyle. Because, with Gossage out of action now, Steinbrenner probably wishes maybe that Sparky was around to take up some of the slack. Last night, you might recall, they had Tommy John working in the bullpen. In addition to Tidrow. 2 balls and 1 strike the count. Spencer, the hitter. Vicious shot on the ground. That's a fair ball. Just playing the carom nicely. And holding Spencer to a single. Hit number 2 of Fergie Jenkins. Comes with 2 men out.
And both of those hits have been pulled right over the bag. Rivers in the first inning. And that one by Spencer here in the second.
Pat Putnam, Rangers rookie first baseman, getting a start today. I'll tell you, he's had a busy time so far. Been in on 5 of the 6 putouts in the ball game. Fielded a couple of ground balls himself. Couple of hits right over the bag. Dead looks at a strike. Bucky is batting .243. 2 doubles, 1 triple. Batted in 3 runs. 0-1 pitch. Buddy Bell down to Bump Wills for the force play, and the Yankees are retired. At the end of 2, Texas 3, New York nothing. The change in center field as we start the 3rd inning. Jay Johnstone has come on to replace Mickey Rivers. You might recall last night we remarked when Rivers went a long way to flag down a shot by Bump Wills, it looked like he pulled up a little lame. He was limping like he had pulled a hamstring muscle of sorts. He did stay in the ball game, but was replaced a little bit later on. Apparently tried to test it today, may have re-injured it, legging out that triple back in the 1st inning. So Rivers is out and Johnstone is in, And Grubb is the first Ranger hitter here in the third. Bounces it to Jim Spencer, or to Chambliss, and it's 1 away.
With the Yankees, you never know what might cause a player to come out of the game in the mid-innings, particularly the temperamental Mickey Rivers. Somebody was joking around the batting cage today after that Johnson-Gossage scuffle. I wonder who's on today's card in the Yankee clubhouse.
Here's Scoop Oliver. Singled back in the first inning to keep his hitting streak going. Well, he said if Hunter's going to come inside, he's going to come way inside on me, and that's exactly what he did. He's not going to give me anything I can hit inside. 1-0 pitch.
I think Al was looking for that one. He had a notion just a bit too far outside.
Despite the fact he's hitting .462, Oliver is still not happy. We talked to him yesterday. He said he was striking out too much. He's like, I've already struck out 4 or 5 times this year. And I said, well, that's probably the only time they've gotten you out. You got the base hit every other time. He said, well, you may have a point there, but I just don't strike out that much.
Al complained last season his line drives weren't falling in as much as they normally do. Not the case this year. Rod Carew, incidentally, is hitting .426 now.
Takes a strike. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Carew had 3 hits last night. He and Don Baylor each had 3 hits. They're really tearing things up out there.
Going after the 3-1 pitch, backhanded by Randolph. That's his second fine play the young second baseman has made. 2 away for the Rangers in the top half of the third inning.
Randolph with very good range. Sparky Lyle points out in his book that Randolph makes a lot of plays look easy that other second basemen would not even get to. And that's the sort of play right there.
Here's Buddy Bell, Ranger third baseman, hit into a fielder's choice to wrap up the first inning. Takes a look at the fastball inside. Talking to Pat Corrales before the game about the great plays that Greg Nettles came up with yesterday. I said, would you trade for Nettles even up with Buddy Bell? And he said, no way. He said, look at their age. Buddy is 27. Nettles is 34. 1-1 pitch. That's a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count. Corrales put it, I wouldn't trade my guy for anybody I can think of right now. Count even at 2-2. Zisk is due up next. Rangers leading 3-0. We're in the third. Fooled him on the slider. First strikeout of the game by either pitcher. Nothing across for the Rangers. After 2.5, Texas 3, New York nothing. Top half of the batting order for the Yankees in the third inning. That would be Jay Johnstone, who came on to relieve Mickey Rivers an inning ago. Willie Randolph and Thurman Munson, the first 3 batters, to face Fergie Jenkins. Johnstone takes a look at a strike. He's batting .278, 5 hits and 18 at-bats. A member of this very strong bench.
Johnstone came over last year from the Phillies in a trade for Raleigh Eastwick. He had hit over 300 over a 4-year period for the Phils.
Well, he didn't get the ball. Fergie got the bat. During this half inning, we've asked Dick Butler. Of course, is no stranger to residents of the Metroplex and is in charge of the American League umpires, to come up and visit with us between pitches here. And maybe we could find out what's going on in the umpire situation. Any sign of the deadlock being broken at all, Dick?
I think that hopefully they're about ready to have some communication, and whether it would be within the next few days, I'm hopeful.
1-2 pitch to Johnstone is fouled.
And if we can get, if they sit down and start barking, well, we've got a chance to bring it to a head. And I think I'm just like everybody else. I hope we can get it settled real quick.
You see increasing pressure by the players being brought because of some of the amateur umpires. You think they've done a pretty good job?
Yeah, I think they've done considering the circumstances, I think they've done an excellent job, because they've worked under a tremendous amount of pressure, and they've done unusually well, but it's obvious that they're not as good as the regular umpires, and partly because of lack of experience.
Johnstone goes down swinging, becoming the first strikeout victim of Fergie Jenkins. Here in the last half of the third inning, 1 out, nobody on base, and Willie Randolph, the second baseman, will step in. He's made a couple of fine fine defensive plays. Been a big headache for you, though, hasn't it?
Yeah, this has been a long spring and a long summer already. I told somebody the other day we've already fouled this season up. I'd soon start another one. But one of the big problems in umpiring, experience is so, or any kind of officiating, experience is so very important. And these fellas here just don't have it. It's not their fault, but they just haven't been exposed to that many ball games and this type of play where there's so much pressure.
I believe even as we speak, Mr. Randolph is disagreeing with your home plate umpire.
Oh, yeah.
It's a young man by the name of Harold Soroka. Now, is he, you know anything about Harold?
Well, yes, he's worked, he went to the umpiring school about 3 years ago, and he's had 2 years of minor league experience, and just a young fellow. And he lives here in the New York area and has been working some games with the Mets and some here with the Yankees.
Now, do you have the guys who have the minor league experience, you have them normally working balls and strikes as a way to work out, or you just...
No, not necessarily, Frank. We've...
Fergie tries to barehand it, doesn't have a play. So Randolph bunts for a base hit.
They're giving him a base hit, but Fergie could have thrown him out there if he had fielded the ball cleanly. The ball was not bunted that well, and Fergie got off the mound in a hurry as we take another look at it here. Watch this. Fergie tries to barehand it. If he had come up with it cleanly, he would have had Willie Randolph at first.
Third hit for the Yankees off Fergie Jenkins.
And Randolph is leading the major leagues in stolen bases. He has stolen 7. He has yet to be thrown out.
Thurman Munson is the batter. Last half of the third inning, Rangers leading 3-0, 1 away. And Randolph on at first base. I guess you're not getting much of a chance to get back home at all, then, huh, with all this going on?
No, I sure haven't. I'd like to get back. I stopped in there the other day for one day to pick up a top coat and come on back up east. And if this thing ever gets settled, I'm going to plan to watch umpires in Arlington Stadium for a little bit.
That's not a bad deal at all. A strike call to Munson, who hit one back to the mound. Jenkins did a great job in the first inning getting out of a hole when Rivers opened the game, or rather opened the last half of the first inning with a triple. Fergie mowed down the next 3 batters without allowing the run to get across the plate. Randolph faked the break, didn't go. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Fergie has had problems keeping runners close this year. He has had 8 bases stolen against him when he's been on the mound, and Sundberg's not been able to throw anybody out. Fergie takes his time coming to the plate. Makes it very hard on the catcher to throw a runner out, and there goes Randolph.
Hitting away is Munson, but deep but very high to left field, and Johnny Grubb is out there to make the play. Now, talking about the umpires, I imagine it's a little bit hard on these umpires. I mean, they want to get the opportunity. I'm talking about the ones who are working here. They want to get the opportunity to work in the majors, yet if they get up here later on, the regular umpires might hold it against them, so they're kind of between the rock and the hard place, aren't they?
Yes, the 4 fellows that we have under contract, it's I'm sure that problem will probably exist to a degree, but hopefully as time goes on that it may pass and we'll be able to work them in and things will be, you know, everybody will get along fine. But right now they are under pressure, and one of the things that even makes it more pressure for them is that they work every third day with 3 strangers. These fellows, they come in. The one at first base is one that we have under. Well, he's not. We don't have. He's a supervisor for the minor league umpires. The man working at first, but he comes in and works with these 3 fellows who he's never seen before.
Reggie Jackson, the hitter. 0-1 the count. 2 men out. Randolph on at first base. Or some guys have turned you down, haven't they, minor league umpires, rather than...
Yes. There were 5 that to my knowledge.
There's Randolph. He's out. Perfect throw from Sundberg down to Nelson Norman. And the Yankees are retired in the 3rd inning. No runs and 1 hit. 1 man left on base at the end of 3. It's the Rangers 3 and the Yankees nothing.
These are the blueprints for an automotive revolution. This is the J.C. Penney shock absorber. Its unique patented metering pin adjusts the ride automatically while you drive. So you get the control of heavy-duty shocks when the going gets rough, and the ride of original equipment shocks when the road is smooth. And if it ever fails, return it. We'll replace it free for as long as you own your car. The J.C. Penney shock absorber. It's the last shock absorber your car will ever need.
There's one insurance agent nearby who can offer protection for your car, and for your home, and for your family. From the one company that insures more cars, the one that insures more homes, and one of the nation's largest life insurers, too. Your State Farm agent can protect them all, with one name you can trust.
Our 5 minute to 6 commercial on brake and front end repair has really caught the attention of the public. A lot of you are wondering if we really live up to the promise that if you bring your car in at 5 minutes to 6, we'll fix it that day. The answer is yes. We're in business to serve you at your convenience when you need the help most. So the next time you need brake, front end, or shock work, even if it's 5 minutes to 6, think about us. We'll be thinking about you.
John Miller with you for the next few innings on television side. The Rangers leading the Yankees 3-0. And many thanks to Dick Butler, the supervisor of umpires in the American League, for stopping by. Richie Zisk, ball one. For being our guest, Dick Butler will receive the ever-ready indoor-outdoor Commander Fluorescent Lantern, courtesy of the Union Carbide Corporation. For work or leisure, it's the ultra-modern concept of portable fluorescent light. 2-0 the count, and 3-0. Zisk got a base hit his first time.
Richie says he's had good success over the years against Catfish Hunter because he knows the ball is going to be around the plate.
There's a strike, 3-1. Well, Hunter has always given up a lot of home runs. The same as Fergie Jenkins, really. You get a look at Hunter's lifetime record against the Rangers, pretty good. 3-2.
The similarities between the two pitchers are amazing, really. The same style pitcher, just about the same longevity, career victories, just about 10 apart.
Ball four. So Jenkins with one walk, and now Hunter has walked his second batter. Hunter, like Jenkins, a great control pitcher. Catfish has not had as much success with his control, however, since he became a Yankee in 1975. For instance, in 74, in 318 innings, he walked 46. He walked 83 the next year with the Yankees in the same number of innings. The time is taken as you get a look at Oscar Gamble because somebody threw a little rubber ball on the field. The umpire picked it up, and now we can play. Oscar Gamble singled his first time. Zisk at first, nobody out. Strike going on. Hunter does not have as wide a variety of pitches as Jenkins, but the theory is all the same. Mix them up. Outside, 1-1.
That whole concept of setting up the hitter, moving the ball.
Was signed by Charlie Finley. He was 18 years old. Never pitched a pitch in the minor leagues. Gamble, base hit. Zisk had to hold up. Jackson lost it. Now Zisk will go to third. Gamble will go to second. And there will be an error scored on Reggie Jackson in right field. A single for Gamble. And an error on Jackson for allowing the runners to move along. Well, Reggie not concentrating on that run. And if you talk to most ball players, and I've seen it many times in the past, this is the kind of thing that really riles people about Reggie. A routine ball like that gets through his legs. You've got to block that one with your body if you're having trouble with it.
Lack of concentration.
Reggie sometimes has a tendency to daydream. Get a look at the Yankee infield now. They've come in halfway at this point, not all the way into the grass, as Jim Sundberg comes up. Sonny hit a booming triple that might have been held to a single. Ball one on a hit-and-run play back in the second. Drove in the Rangers' first 2 runs of the ball game. He's batting 189 right now. That should get one home. Zisk is tagging at third. There's Jay Johnstone. Both runners try to advance. Zisk will score. No play at third either. Gamble with a head-first slide. Zisk scores ahead of him. And Jim Sundberg with 3 RBIs today. Give him 7 for the season. And the Rangers have a 4-0 lead. And Texas continues to get those runners home. This has been, I think, one of the great Ranger teams in getting the runners home from second or third with less than 2 outs. That is the 2nd sacrifice fly of the day and the 9th of the season for Texas. That is a very good statistic. Now the infield is in for Pat Putnam with 1 out. Ball 1. Bullpen activity for New York. Ken Clay, a right-hander, up and throwing. There's the infield. The right side about halfway in. That will not get the runner home. Randolph to Chambliss. 2 down. Gamble still at third, and Nelson Norman will come up. Norman flying to right his first time. When Catfish Hunter was signed as a teenager by Charlie Finley, Finley told him he had to have a good nickname. And Catfish said, well, I don't really have a nickname. Ball 1. So Charlie said, well, here's what we'll do. You tell him that you went fishing. You love to fish for catfish. And you were gone once for about 4 days. Nobody could find you. 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. 1-1. And when they finally found you, there you were with a string of catfish, having a great time. And ever since then, they called you Catfish Hunter. All right? And that story went down as fact until 1974. And, you know, Catfish has never told anybody it wasn't true. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Charlie Finley signed you to broadcast his games when you were, what, 21? Didn't give you a nickname?
Catfish Miller. 1-2 pitch. 2-2. Catfish told the story to Kurt Gowdy, and Kurt related it on the All-Star game in '74. And I asked Catfish after the game, what did Charlie say when he heard that story come out? Slow chopper. Hunter will throw him out. And we've played 3.5 innings with a score. Rangers 4, New York nothing.
They're just as hot and juicy at our pickup window. When you don't have the time, Wendy's has a pickup window that's fast and convenient. Just drive up, order up, pick up. And because it's Wendy's, wipe up. They're just as juicy at our pickup window.
All kinds of people, more than a million a day, keep their lives moving on by making a stop along the way. And go, the stop that keeps America going.
Every day, over 1 million people depend on Gulf for everything from gasoline and motor oils to a full line of quality Cruisemaster tires, batteries, and accessories. Stop at Gulf. We'll help you get where you're going.
Go, the stop that keeps America going.
Take 4, the Commodores for Schlitz.
Beer makes it good. There's no debate. Oh, beer makes it good. Beer makes it good. Schlitz makes it great.
11 million times a day, America reaches for a Schlitz.
When you're out of Schlitz, you're out of Schlitz. You're out of beer.
Reggie Jackson, who was at the plate when Randolph was thrown out trying to steal in the third, leads off the fourth. Ball 1. Reggie says he's got peace of mind this year. Al Oliver thinks that Reggie's going to have one of his greatest years ever. 1-0 pitch. Ball 2, 2-0.
Reggie doesn't like that designated hitter position. I think he hit only .217 last year as designated hitter, and hit .293 those days he was in the outfield.
Now the 2-0 pitch. Got to see what he hit when he was on national television. Reggie always hits about 150 points higher than normal to get into the playoffs and World Series. 2-1 pitch outside, 3-1. But that's all, I guess, Reggie rising to the occasion, and you wonder if he could concentrate like that through an entire season, what he could do. Foul ball, 3-2. Now let's pause for station identification. This is the Texas Rangers Baseball Network.
KXAS TV5, Fort Worth, Dallas.
John Miller with Eric Nadel and Frank Lieber from Yankee Stadium on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. 3-2 pitch. Pat Putnam makes the play. Out number 1. And that'll bring up Greg Nettles. Talking with Reggie around the batting cage before the game when Al Oliver was taking his swings. And Reggie said, if anybody can beat Rod Carew for the batting title, Oliver's the man. In fact, he thinks that if anybody beats him, he would be the only man that Reggie would predict could do it. That one has got a chance. Off the wall. And he'll only get a single out of it. Good play by Richie Zisk in right field. He just turned around, played the carom. And for the second time in this ball game, we've seen somebody hit one off the wall for a single. And we'll get a look at it here. I got that one up around the belt. And it was just a couple of feet, I think, Eric, from being out of here.
That was pretty close. You see the foul pole there, and if it hits the foul pole above the level of the top of the fence, it is a home run. That didn't miss by much. Al Oliver had drilled one off the wall earlier and only got a single out of it, too.
Well, there's Nettles at first base with his first hit of the day, hit number 4 for the Yankees, and that brings up Chris Chambliss. Reggie Jackson talking about Al Oliver's chances of a batting title. He feels, made a couple of good points, I thought. It's how Oliver starts that could be the key. If Oliver goes through his first 100 to 150 at-bats and hits 380 or 390, said Reggie, then he's got a real good shot at the title. Chris Chambliss takes a strike. The other factor that Reggie brought up, he said that Rod Carew with Minnesota the last few years didn't play a whole lot against left-handers down the final month of the season because they weren't in the pennant race. But with California, they're going to be in that pennant race, and he's going to have to play every day against everybody. And that could hurt his average a little bit. Outside, 2-1. Reggie said that the Yankees last year in September in 27 games, one 27-game stretch, faced 24 left-handers. 2-1 pitch.
And that's the reason that Ferguson Jenkins has never pitched here in Yankee Stadium. He told me today when the Red Sox came in, the 2 years he was with them, they would never pitch him. They'd be throwing Bill Lee all the time, and Tiant at least one game since he was a Yankee killer. Use somebody else. Fergie pitched against them every time they come into Fenway, but never in here.
3-1 pitch. Putnam with a great stab. He'll go to first in time. Boy, Pat Putnam continues to be very impressive at first base. That was supposed to be a weakness for him, was his glove work. But watch this again here. Marvelous play.
Must have been watching Greg Nettles last night. And Putnam, thinking of going to second, decided for the surer play.
Nettles to second, 2 down, and here is Roy White. That's the great thing, as you get a look at young Pat Putnam getting a start today. Richie Zisk felt that if Pat could play a lot this year, he could be the Rookie of the Year. Check swing, they appeal to the wrong umpire. Plate umpire appealed to the first base umpire. You got to appeal to the third base umpire. I think Oscar Gamble is trying to tell him, hey, you guys, come on now. Said he didn't swing. Oscar said, you asked the wrong umpire. Left-hand batter up there, they'll appeal to the third base umpire. Now the 1-0 pitch. Strike, 1-1. Although the only professional umpire working is the first base umpire, Dick Nelson. Maybe that's why he went that way. Plate umpire Harold Soroka said, let him get in trouble. We're just amateurs. Runner at second, 2 down. Foul ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Roy White. 4th inning, the Rangers 4, the Yankees nothing.
And the Rangers continue to score a lot of runs for Fergie Jenkins. They got 8 for him on opening day, 5 runs in his second start, and 6 runs in his third start, and already with 4 runs in 4 innings here today.
Got a good deal worked out between Fergie and the hitters. Strike 3 called. He got him looking. 2 Ks for Fergie. 1 hit, 1 left. Through 4. Rangers 4, New York nothing. From the center field camera at Yankee Stadium, you get a look as Catfish Hunter gets ready to face Bump Wills in the 5th inning. Top of the batting order for Texas, and a curveball is inside, ball 1. Wills, Grubb, and Oliver. See Greg Nettles at third base playing shallow. Bump is always a threat to bunt. Ground ball wide of first. Chambliss to Hunter. 1 away.
Your handy billfold-sized Texas Ranger pocket schedules are available now in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. You can pick them up free at your Dallas and Tarrant County Chevy dealers, where Schlitz is sold, at Gulf Service Stations, your State Farm Insurance Agency, where Fry Meat is sold, at Cook Paint Stores, True Value Hardware, where Sacrete is sold, and 7-Eleven stores. And outside the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you can check with your local Ranger Network radio or television station. They have them, too.
Johnny Grubb, the batter, 0 for 2. Ball 1. Grubb said sometimes he starts fast, sometimes he starts slow. This year he's starting slow. He is 4 for 30. 2-0. Grubb said last year he was hitting only .230 at the All-Star break with Cleveland. There's a strike, 2-1. When the Rangers acquired him at the end of August, he was up in the 270s with 14 homers. He was red hot. 3-1.
The odd thing is how many times he has struck out. He's already fanned 8 times last year. He only struck out 65 times all year.
Good contact hitter. 285 lifetime average. Now, Grubb didn't like that call. Umpire said it caught the letters. 3-2. There's Catfish Hunter. Tell you one thing, it's a funny story about how he got the nickname, but one of the best things that Charlie Finley ever did for him. To say the least, that nickname stuck.
Let's see. Jim Hunter doesn't have quite the distinctive ring to it.
Or neither does James Augustus. 3-2 pitch. Foul ball.
Catfish threw a one-hitter against the Rangers back in 1975. That was at Texas, and the only man to get a hit that day was Cesar Tovar.
Catfish, one of the few pitchers in baseball history to have a perfect game. Johnny Grubb draws the walk. And that is the 3rd free pass issued by Catfish Hunter. 1 out, 1 on. Here's Al Oliver. Oliver has singled off the wall and grounded to second. A good play turned in by second baseman Willie Randolph. And there is Jim Kern doing some sort of stretching exercise, or maybe he's meditating out there. Ball 1. The cynics among the Rangers press corps might say he's looking for those lost marbles. Now the 1-0 pitch. Called a strike, and Oliver was a bit surprised by that call. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's the Ranger bullpen on the left and the Yankee bullpen on the right. Hey, how you doing over there? Pretty good. How about you? One pitch. That one is hit deep to left. But White's got plenty of room there. 2 down.
Wrong part of the ballpark to hit the ball. Incidentally, when they were showing the bullpens out there, you saw the area in between with those plaques up on the wall and 3 monuments, actually 3 tombstones out there. In the old Yankee Stadium, before they remodeled, those 3 tombstones were in play in dead center field. And a couple of times, balls were hit far enough that they would carry them off the tombstones, and center fielders had to play the carom. And look at Kern, the great emu now, as he likes to be called.
Buddy Bell, foul ball. See a lot of pro basketball players before a game get right down on the court and do those kind of stretching exercises. Oh, look at him now. I wish we could see him now. Oh, yeah.
There it is.
There's one. Try that one, he says. The flying helicopter. 1 strike pitch. Strike 2. Oh, somebody else going to try it now.
And Doc Medich?
Yeah, it might be. I think it is. 2 strike pitch. Base hit. Only the 2nd hit for Buddy Bell on the whole road trip.
And that pitch seemed to hang a little bit, but he just tomahawked it.
Bell now 1 for 3 in the day. That snaps his string. He had been 0 for 10. And even now he is only 2 for 14 on the trip. So the Rangers have a runner in scoring position. Johnny Grubb going to second. And here is Richie Zisk. He has singled and walked and scored 2 runs. Get a look at Buddy Bell. Richie Zisk. I tell you, Richie, one of the big free agents last year. This guy paid his dues. Take a look at, you get your free Ranger media guide at your Chevrolet dealer. Zisk hits it a long way to center, but it's up in the air too high. And Jay Johnstone with the glasses down. 1 hit, 1 walk, 2 left. And we're halfway through it this afternoon. The score, Rangers 4, Yanks nothing.
Chevrolet demonstrates the room in the 1980 Chevy Citation.
It's the first Chevy of the 80s.
There is mid-size room for 5 adults in Citation.
The first Chevy of its kind.
With the back seat down, Citation has room for 30 bags of groceries and 2 adults.
This could be the car you had in mind.
Take a Citation demonstration drive today. It's a whole new kind of compact car.
Chevy Citation.
Chevrolet demonstrates how front-wheel drive pulls the 1980 Chevy Citation.
It's no surprise Citation can pull this trailer, but it may surprise you that with a special trailer hitch, this Citation will do it with the rear wheels off.
It's the first Chevy of the 80s.
Chevy Citation, the first front-wheel drive with Chevy behind it.
This could be the car you had in mind.
Take a Citation demonstration drive today.
Chevy Citation.
Don't forget Minyard Bat Night, Friday, May 4th, when the Rangers meet the Chicago White Sox. All youngsters 13 and under entering Arlington Stadium with a paid admission will receive a certificate good for an official Junior League bat, compliments of Minyards and the Rangers. This bright blue bat is ideal for league play. And don't forget to go by one of the Minyard stores and register for some great prizes to be given away that night. Minyard Bat Night, Friday, May 4th.
Inning number 5. On Saturday, April 21st at Yankee Stadium. Jim Spencer, Bucky Dent, and Jay Johnstone to start it off against Ferguson Jenkins of the Rangers. Spencer singled his first time. Strike 0-1. Rangers arrived in New York on Thursday. Ever try to get a cab in this town? Jenkins had it hit off the heel of his glove. Almost pulled Putnam off the bag, but he got him.
You and the cab drivers not getting along, John?
I walked out in front of the hotel on Friday. Whole string of cabs out there. Must have been 12 of them. Walked to the first one in line, which is the way you do it. You should watch that play again. And the cab driver looked right through me. I thought I was a ghost. Some guy with a suitcase came walking out, and all of a sudden the cab driver says, "Airport?" I said, "Yeah." Opened the door for him, so I said, "Well, I'll try cab number 2. Cab number 2 had the doors locked. Couldn't get in. Pounded on the window, and the guy in there wouldn't talk to me in English. Guy from cab number 1 came back, said, "He's off duty now. Get somebody else." 1-1 to Dent. So I walked to the 3rd cab in line, opened the door, got in. The guy said, "Take that cab up there in front of me. He's next." Foul ball. And I said, "Well, the guy up in front is off duty right now." I said, "No, he's not. He's waiting for an airport fare," which they make a lot more money on the airport fare.
Well, Fan almost got that one with a net.
Tough break.
It's tough in the big city, John, I'll tell you. It could be just not rude enough.
As we were talking about it, cab number 2 got a guy with a suitcase, obviously going to the airport. So I told the guy at cab number 3, "Well, listen, it's all academic now. You're next. Give me a ride." The guy says, "Well, no, you should have taken that cab. I'm not taking you anywhere."
Better walk.
Foul ball. 1-2. It was sort of like catch-22. Since I didn't catch the cab that I was supposed to catch, which I couldn't catch because they wouldn't let me in, then I was just going to have to walk all day.
Wondered what you were doing in the bicycle showroom there this morning.
Now the 1-2 pitch. 2-2. Finally got one. Was going to 85th and Columbus. As we got up to about 100th Street. I said, "How far do we have to go uptown before we can go back to 85th?"
You got the scenic route designed for out-of-towners.
Yeah. We went up to about 116th Street, double back. 3-2 pitch. Richie Zisk is under this one, looking up into the sun. Out number 2. And that'll bring up Jay Johnstone. I had a 29-block cab ride, and the guy took me 60 blocks uptown. Double back 31 blocks.
Might as well have gone to the airport.
I was lucky, I guess, that he took me. Nobody else would. So they say in New York, so what do you want from me, buddy? Foul ball, 0-2.
Just goes to show you, John, it's always something.
Well, I married a New Yorker. And having known you for a while, Eric, you're not all bad being for New York. I like New York. It's great to come to New York. 2 strikes and nothing to Jay Johnstone. 2 down, bases empty. It's low for a ball, 1-2.
I guess if you grow up here, you're always a New Yorker, but I've always enjoyed it more since I haven't been living here and get a chance to come back and not really have to fight all the urban hassles that you deal with every day when you're living here.
There's a look at Gary Gray on the right, Campaneris in the middle. Ooh, Johnstone strikes out. The bat ends up with Pat Putnam. It's bat day for Pat Putnam. 5th inning is 1-2-3. We go to the 6th. Rangers 4, Yanks nothing. Say Johnstone is a little overmatched with.
Well done, lad. Now to quench our thirst. No name. I'm Robin Hood, a swashbuckling hero. I don't want beer. I want something special. Bull. Bull? The Schlitz Malt Liquor Bull. It's a special premium brew that's in a class by itself. What noble taste. Robin, my son, how about a little game of bumper pool?
If you want to change up the pace with a big, bold taste, don't say beer, say bull. Oh, the Schlitz Malt Liquor Bull.
For today's families, life insurance to help meet today's needs and tomorrow's goals. For today's woman who needs a life insurance plan of her own. For today's homeowner to help pay off a mortgage and keep a home in the family. Life insurance for your way of living. Your State Farm agent can help you plan it today.
When we first opened the doors at Bill King's Braco, we had to ask ourselves how a small company like ours could compete with auto manufacturers, tire companies, and major department stores. Think about the attitude and the service you receive when you do business with those industry giants. It's frequently frustrating, and to make matters worse, they don't seem to care. You won't find this attitude at Bill King's Braco. We care about you. That's how we compete. Come see us.
Oscar Gamble leads off the 6th inning for the Rangers. 4-0 Texas. Catfish Hunter winds for the first pitch of the 6th. Strike on 1. Got a few loyal Ranger fans here in New York today, Eric.
From Denton, Texas, Kathy and Dennis Locasato. Joan and Stan Miller from Hearst, Texas. Relatives of yours, John?
The Millers. Oh, yeah.
A lot of Millers at the ballpark today.
Good family. 1 ball, 1 strike to Gamble. Oscar is 2 for 2. 2-1. And he is now 8 for 22 in the season. 364. He scored a run in this game. 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, 2-2. But every time you say something about New York, there are New Yorkers somewhere who take it the wrong way. I want to make it clear. Don't send us any letters about this now. I love New York. 2-2 pitch. Ooh, didn't miss by much. Full count. Great to come here. You look forward to coming here again. Here's a look at that last one. Did he check it? I don't think that was a check swing. Chambliss to Hunter.
There's a fine play by Chambliss. You see the Golden Glove form at first base. He was playing Oscar deep and made a nice play going to his right.
I don't think we were showing a check swing there a moment ago. We're just taking a look at Oscar's swing, period.
think they might have been trying to show us the vigor with which Oscar swung at that earlier delivery.
Doesn't cheat himself.
No, he's looking for the porch.
Here's Sundberg. Sonny's best day of the season offensively. Strike. He has hit a 2-run triple, and he's hit a sacrifice fly. And that 1 for 2 is not correct. He is 1 for 1 with 3 runs batted in.
And he also became the first catcher in the American League to throw out Willie Randolph on the base paths this year.
Randolph now 7 for 8. And Sundberg really nailed it. Put it right there. 2 strikes and nothing. Looper, Jackson there, waiting for it. Out number 2. Reggie said before spring training he wanted to talk to George Steinbrenner. So he didn't want to be any designated hitter. Felt that it would hurt his image. He was honest about it. Says to continue to be Reggie Jackson's superstar, he's going to have to play the field, too.
Tell you, hit like he does in the World Series every year. I don't think it matters whether you ever field a game.
Pat Putnam to Nettles. And the Rangers go 1, 2, 3 in the 6th. After 5 1/2, the score remains Texas 4, Yankees nothing.
All kinds of people, more than 1 million a day, keep their lives moving on by making a stop along the way. And go, the stop that keeps America going.
Now there's one more reason to stop at Gulf. A motor oil so good you change only once a year or after 15,000 miles, whichever comes first. Gulf Pride Multi-G. A lot of protection from Gulf.
Gulf, the stop that keeps America going.
From San Jose to San Antonio, tradition is honored with great spirit.
Beer makes it good. There's no debate. Beer makes it good. Schlitz makes it great.
11 million times a day, America reaches for a Schlitz.
Since 1849, there's no debate. When you're out of Schlitz, you're out of beer. Schlitz makes it great.
And the Hathaway deal, signed, sealed, and delivered.
Congratulations, Brinker. Did you call the man?
All.
To thank him. A thank you call will impress him, particularly if it's long distance.
Well, what do I say after I say thank you?
Well, ask him if there's anything else you can do for him. You could even pave the way for the next deal.
Hey, that's a good idea. Thanks for the tip.
You get the tip, Brinker. The lunch is on me.
Long distance. It's the way to get things done today.
There's Mike Jorgensen. He's a local product. He was born in Passaic, but he grew up in the city. Yankee fan all his life. And he's brought his gold glove with him into first base, replacing Pat Putnam. Strike to Willie Randolph. In the 6th, Randolph, Munson, and Jackson. Some young Yankee fans. 0-1. We must say, perhaps it's been mentioned already, that the video portion of our telecast being provided by the local station in New York. Looper, Zisk in a hurry. Out number 1. And this game is being seen in New York with Phil Rizzuto, Frank Messer, Bill White, Fran Healy. And the television folks here are concerned, number 1, with the pictures that their broadcasters want to look at and what their broadcasters are talking about at the moment. And in essence, we're taking the pictures of a Yankee telecast. So sometimes things are shown on the screen that they might be talking about, and we're on a completely different subject. Now here's Thurman Munson. He's 0 for 2. Strike going on.
They're also a little concerned about the length of our post-game interviews. The fans refuse to leave as long as there's a player on the field. There were hundreds of fans back at the third base dugout last night when I was chatting with Greg Nettles. And there's no way they were leaving till that interview was over. They couldn't hear a word we were saying. Couldn't hear anything. But just the opportunity to shout at Greg and throw an object or two is enough to keep him around for a while.
They're throwing at Greg or you? Somebody from Brooklyn probably recognized you.
I figured the pens and the baseball cards were heading for Greg.
2 strikes and nothing. Base hit. First hit for Munson, hit number 5 for the Yankees. New York has never had more than 1 hit in an inning. And the only inning Jenkins has sent them down in order was the 5th. 4-0 Texas. A lot of time left in this ball game. And here's Reggie Jackson. He's walked and grounded out.
I'm talking about Reggie's image there. One of the great lines in Sparky's book from Catfish Hunter about Reggie's new candy bar said, when you unwrap a Reggie bar, it tells you how good it is.
Pitch to Reggie. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Well, I've always liked Reggie. He'd be very friendly. And in fact, he can be one of the most friendly people you've ever met in baseball. But he just has a penchant sometimes for saying the wrong thing. Very quotable. 0-2. On deck is Greg Nettles. Reggie and Al Oliver, pretty good friends. Stay in pretty close touch. 2-strike pitch. Right to Jorgensen. Throws to second. Double play. And Munson didn't even slide. Well, the Yankees are playing in a dream world right now. This is John Miller saying Frank Lieber will be back for the final part of the ball game. Thanks, Eric. And the score after 6, Rangers 4, Yankees nothing.
Whatever your particular grass cutting needs are, you'll find the right Lawn Chief mower for the job at True Value hardware stores.
Nelson Norman leads it off for the Rangers in the top half of the 7th inning, facing Catfish Hunter. Rangers 4 runs, 6 hits and no errors. Yankees no runs, 5 hits and 1 error. As we play in the 7th, Norman is 0 for 2. His fly to right field and bounced one back to Catfish. Slider missing low. Count is 2 balls and 1 strike. Everything going well for the Rangers at this particular point. Offensively, defensively. Great play by Chambliss over to Catfish Hunter, and Norman is robbed of a base hit.
We have seen some gems around the corners in this series. Nettles last night at third base, and today Putnam made a great play for the Rangers. A diving stop earlier. That's the second one Chambliss has made. This even better than the first, as we run it past you again.
That's why the man is a Golden Glover. Takes it out of his glove, and the Catfish just in time.
Just in time. Today's game brought to you in part by Steak and Ale Restaurants.
Bump Wills, the leadoff batter. Walked back in the first inning, erased stealing, grounded out to second, and grounded out to the first baseman, who threw to Hunter, covering the bag. So Bump officially is 0 for 2. His batting average at .211. 2 balls and no strikes, the count. That's well hit. Reggie Jackson lays it on the first hop. Wills on with a single. His first hit of the ball game. The Rangers' 7th of the afternoon. And on first base with 1 man away. And the left fielder, John Grubb, is the hitter. John is 0 for 2. Got to walk his last time up.
At Steak and Ale, you can enjoy friendly service and find food like hearty cuts of prime rib in the cozy atmosphere of an old country inn. Pleased to have the folks from Steak and Ale Restaurants as one of our sponsors all season long.
Wills with a good lead at first base, threatening to go, but doesn't, as Grubb looks at a ball outside. Oh, we got a lot of things going on. Oh, wait, that bat night upcoming and the citation to be given away.
Bat night May 4th, citation night May 5th. Toronto Blue Jays coming into town Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this coming week.
Rangers will be on their way home after tomorrow afternoon's game, which, by the way, we will not be able to telecast for you because of program conflicts. Doc Ellis is scheduled to go against Ron Guidry. Grubb waiting. Count 2 balls and no strikes. Wills drawing the throw.
Our next telecast will be a week from tomorrow, a week from Sunday, 1 p.m. from Comiskey Park in Chicago.
That's a strike. And a week from Tuesday, we'll be at Kansas City for the first of many visits this season. That'll be our first Ranger telecast against the Royals, the Rangers' big rivals.
The Royals dipped below 500 last night when the Red Sox trounced them 9-2, and they're losing again today, 5-2 to the Red Sox.
There goes Wills.
Uncontested stolen base.
That's like Munson had a little trouble digging that one out of his glove.
Stolen base number 6 for Bump Wills. Been thrown out just once. That was in the first inning today.
Now the runner now in scoring position with 1 away. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count on John Grubb. Right at Randolph. Wills moves on to third. 2 away. This game, like last night's game, is clipping right along.
Got 2 fast workers here in Jenkins and Hunter. Hunter's thrown more pitches than he normally does.
Game in less than an hour and a half old, and we're ready in the 7th inning. Rangers leading 4-0. Scoop Oliver, first ball hitting wide of first base, but that man Chambliss is there. So the Rangers are retired. 1 hit in the 7th inning, nothing across. At the end of 6.5, it's the Rangers 4 and the Yankees nothing. Chris Chambliss and White will be the first 3 hitters. Jenkins just sailing right along. Seems to be very comfortable out there. He's given up 5 hits. Never been in serious trouble except back in the first inning when the leadoff man, Mickey Rivers, hit a triple down the right field line and then was left stranded there by Randolph, Munson, and Jackson. 1-1 pitch. Straight up into the air. Sundberg took a look but sees there's no play.
And Ferguson Jenkins is looking to become the first American League pitcher to win 4 games this year. Vita Blue has already won 4 over in the National League.
And Mike Caldwell of the Brewers tried yesterday and didn't get it.
Rick Langford of the Oakland A's is already 0-4.
You know, I'll bet at this time last year, Fergie didn't have 1 victory.
I don't believe he had started a game yet. He missed 4 or 5 starts.
That's right. He was a relief pitcher at the start of the season. And didn't get his first start until, memory serves me correctly, almost a month deep into the season. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. Nettles wide of first. Jorgensen, slowly hit ball, goes to Jenkins just in time.
Continue to get a lot of action around the first base area. The Yankees have already hit 5 balls that have been fielded by the Ranger first baseman, Putnam and Jorgensen, and have drilled 2 balls over the bag for base hits.
Chambliss has been up twice and grounded each time to then Ranger first baseman Pat Putnam. Jorgensen now on in relief. That drives Grubb back, but a lot of room out there in Death Valley. And it's 2 away.
Fergie Jenkins has done an excellent job with this string of New York left-handed hitters. The number 4 through 8 hitters all hit from the left side, including White, the switch hitter, hitting left today. And among them so far, they have only 2 singles.
Roy White has grounded out. And his last time up was called out on strikes and disputed that rather loudly with the home plate umpire, Harold Soroka. Soroka's been catching some flack from both sides today. Fouled off. White really chokes up on that bat. Doesn't do so when he's batting right-handed. Fergie has walked 1 man, struck out 3. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count. Spencer in the on-deck circle. 2 men out, nobody on base, last half of the 7th inning. And the Rangers cruising 4-0. trying to even the series at 1 game apiece against the defending world champion New York Yankees. So the count is now full on the veteran Roy White. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Shadows beginning to move across the field here at Yankee Stadium. Well, Fergie had him 0-2 and let him get away. That's the second walk given up by Jenkins. Comes with 2 men out, nobody on base. And Jim Spencer, the designated hitter, single back in the 2nd inning. And grounded out. Pitcher to first in the 5th. Strike called on the outside corner.
Spencer batted only 150 times last season, but Bob Lemon says he will play more this year, and he's going to let him play more in the field to keep him sharp. Former Texas Ranger, played for the Rangers back in 73, 74, and 75.
Won a Gold Glove during that time period. Outstanding fielding first baseman. Yankees have 2 of them in him and Chambliss. That's wide to first. Jorgensen couldn't get it. White will hold on at second. So the Yankees starting to threaten now with 2 outs here in the 7th inning. Have runners on at first and second. And Bucky Dent, the shortstop, will be the hitter, and Pat Corrales will visit with his pitcher.
Rangers have no one working in the bullpen yet. They are just now getting someone up. So Corrales is just out there for a chat at the moment. And didn't take long either.
We get a little activity now in the Ranger bullpen. He's got Farmer out there. He's got Medich out there. He's got Sparky.
And that is Sparky.
And he's got Kern also sitting out there in the bullpen. So Lyle begins to loosen up. If he should come in the ball game, it'd be interesting to see the type of reception he gets from these Yankee fans. Bucky Dent, 0 for 2. Easy play for Buddy Bell. And the Yankees are retired in the 7th inning. No runs and 1 hit. And at the end of 7, Rangers 4, Yankees nothing. Well, Eric, the Yankees going with a new pitcher here as we go to the 8th.
You're looking at Ken Clay. Clay from Lynchburg, Virginia. He is 6'3", 195 pounds. Has worked primarily in relief over the years. In fact, he has not started a game for the Yankees in the last 2 years. He is a sinker baller. Throws a hard fastball that dips as it approaches the plate. Also throws a slider. Throws everything very hard. You won't see too much off-speed stuff from Ken Clay.
Buddy Bell, Richie Zisk, and Oscar Gamble for the Rangers in the 8th inning. Buddy singled his last time up. He's 1 out of 3. He was Hunter's only strikeout victim in the ball game. So Catfish goes 7, allows 4 runs, of which 3 were earned, 7 hits, 3 walks, and 1 strikeout. 1 ball, 1 strike the count. Rangers leading 4-0 playing here in the 8th. Going after their 8th victory of the year against 3 losses. Far cry from last year at this time when the Rangers were 2-8.
And today is the first day of the season the Rangers are not sitting on top of the American League. California sneaked past them last night.
Angels play a night game against Oakland tonight. Of course, they've been playing fairly easy opposition so far.
And don't forget, we'll have all the scores for you on the post-game show today, along with an interview with the star of the game, so stick around.
Clay delivers 1-2 to Bell. Little topper that's going to be foul.
Talking about Ken Clay and that sinker ball of his, an indication of just how good it is. Last year we talked last night about the problem the Yankees had getting catchers to warm up pitchers in the bullpen. Well, they used an infielder named Mickey Klutz for a while to warm up the pitchers, and Clay broke off a sinker so sharply he broke Klutz's thumb. He missed most of the season.
Nicked him. So Buddy Bell is on after being hit by the pitcher. Just glanced him. Richie Zisk singled and started the big Ranger inning in the second inning when Texas scored 3. Walked and scored his second run of the ball game in the 4th. Came home on Sundberg's sacrifice fly and flied out to center field in the 5th inning. Slowly hit the dent. Randolph for 1. Still in time. And the Yankees pull off a twin killing.
And Willie Randolph with an outstanding play at second to turn over this double play. Bell is coming hard here. Watch Randolph get the throw away and leap over Bell. I don't believe they ever made contact. Zisk is out too.
2 men are out for the Rangers in the top half of the 8th inning. The designated hitter, Oscar Gamble, 2 out of 3. Singled his first 2 times up. He and Zisk singled to open the second inning, and then both rode home on Sundberg's triple. That's a well-hit ball to deep right center. Johnstone out at the warning track, plays it off the wall at the 385-foot mark, and Oscar Gamble cruises into second with a double, his 3rd hit of the ball game.
What a day for Oscar, and what a blast that was. That didn't miss being a home run by too much.
About a 1/3 of the way up the wall at the 385-foot mark, deep in the power alley in right center field at Yankee Stadium.
Here's another look at it. Jay Johnstone didn't have a chance on this one.
So Sundberg standing in now has already driven in 3 of the Ranger 4 runs and a chance to add to his RBI total with a base hit here and give the Rangers another insurance run. Still got activity in the Ranger bullpen, so could be that Jenkins maybe getting a little tired. Pat Corrales maybe having some thoughts about taking him out of the ball game.
That's Jim Kern up and throwing now.
Sundberg in the hole against Ken Clay. Yankee bullpen really depleted now with the loss of Gossage for at least a week or so. 0-2 pitch. Into right center. Reggie Jackson coming on. Can't make the play. Here comes Gamble digging for the plate. Here comes the throw. He's in. And Sundberg down to second on the throw.
And by missing the cutoff man, Reggie Jackson has enabled Sundberg to go on down to second base. As the throw sailed over the head of Chris Chambliss, the cutoff man, they didn't have a play at the plate. Gamble scored standing up as we look at it again. Here's Reggie. He's got a gun, but throws erratically. Look at Chambliss leaping to try and get it. Couldn't do it. Gamble's in by a mile, and Sundberg winds up at second.
Sundberg with his best offensive afternoon of the year. Now 2 out of 4, and has knocked in 4 of the 5 Ranger runs. Good activity now in the Yankee bullpen. That is Tommy John, number 25. Throwing in the bullpen for New York as Mike Jurgensen, the first baseman, steps in his first time at bat today on in relief of Pat Putnam. 5-0 Texas. Clay looking down at second at Sundberg. Fouled off, out of play.
I'd be surprised if Tommy John got into this ball game, especially a 5-0 game like this, unless they just want him to get in some work. I can't imagine why. Paul Mirabella is their left-handed reliever.
Clay delivers 0-2. That one fouled off just to our left. And again out of play. Rangers 5 runs, 9 hits now. And no errors. Yankees 0-6-1 as we play in the 8th. Nelson Norman, the shortstop, will bat next. Jurgensen waits. Sundberg away at second. Pitches inside. Count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. Yankees drew 2,335,000 people here last year. That was their second highest total ever. Their highest was back in 1948. They were only about 75,000 or so off that figure. And that, of course, was back in the days when this ballpark had a lot bigger capacity than it does now. One-two to Jurgensen. Popped up. Nettles in foul territory. So the Rangers are retired in the 8th inning, but not before they get another run across on a couple of base hits. No errors and 1 left on. At the end of 7.5, Texas 5, New York nothing. 6-hit shutout as we go to the last half of the 8th inning. Top of the order for the New York Yankees, Jay Johnstone, the center fielder, Willie Randolph, the second baseman, and Thurman Munson, the catcher. Hey, Johnstone hasn't touched Fergie yet. He's been up twice and struck out twice and really hasn't come close.
Fergie has toyed with him. Johnstone, a player who has been platooned throughout almost his entire career, very rarely faces left-handed pitchers.
Easy chance for Grubb. Goes the sunglasses down.
This time of day, it's never a real easy chance if it's hit high up in the air to left field. That is the sun field in this ballpark. And I remember as a kid coming in here, watching rival left fielders battle that sun. In fact, I remember watching Yankee left fielders battle it. Hector Lopez used to play out there. He used to have a terrible time with the sun.
Randolph looks at a strike. 1 out of 3. Line to Zisk in right field his last time up. Single back in the 3rd. And he was thrown out stealing by Sundberg. First time this year that Randolph has been caught.
Royals getting beaten by the Red Sox again, 9-3 in the 8th inning today at Fenway.
Well, they've really had some pitching problems. Teams are scoring anywhere between 6 and 10 runs on the Royals, it seems, every time out. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. Keep your eye on those Angels now because they're red hot. 9 in a row, and they go against Oakland tonight.
Nolan Ryan tonight for the Angels. Matt Keogh for Oakland.
2-1 to Randolph. Again line to Zisk, backing up, but he's got room. And Ritchie flags it down. There are 2 away for the Yankees in the 9th inning. Or rather, the 8th inning, pardon me. Inning ahead of myself. Thurman Munson. 2 hits against the Rangers last night, 1 this afternoon.
Minnesota beat Seattle today 6-5. Kuzman was the winner and Bannister the loser. Mike Marshall got the save.
Deep short. Nice play by Nelson Norman, who guns him down. Yankees 3 up and 3 down in the 8th inning at the end of 8. Rangers 5, Yankees nothing. Norman will lead it off, followed by Bump Wills and John Grubb. Ken Clay pitching in relief of Catfish Hunter. Nelson is flying to right field. Top one back to the pitcher. And grounded out to Chambliss at first base. Right up the middle, Randolph behind second. Makes the play, and it's 1 away. And Randolph will cover a lot of ground.
Great day for the right side of the Yankee infield. Randolph and Chambliss have handled everything, hit that way.
Didn't get him by much. Top of the order, Bump Wills. Singled his last time up, stove second. 1 out of 3. Walked and was caught trying to steal back in the 1st inning. Play way out in front here. No balls and 2 strikes. Top half of the 9th inning, the Rangers with a 5-run lead. Shadows out now between home plate and the pitcher's mound. Make it a little tough on the hitters. Pitch coming out of the bright sunlight into the shade. Easy play for Chambliss. 2 down. John Grubb, the left fielder. Tomorrow, Doc Ellis against Ron Guidry, and once again we will not have that game on television for you because of some programming conflicts. 25,530 in attendance here today at 26,000 last night. It's a fine turnout here at Yankee Stadium on a great afternoon for baseball. 1 ball, 1 strike, the count on Grubb. Dick Tidrow loosening up in the Yankee bullpen, as well as Mirabella, who's gotten up and started to throw. 1-2 pitch, fooled him. So the Rangers go down meekly in the 9th inning. Nothing across at the end of 8 1/2. It's Texas 5, New York nothing. The bottom half of the 9th inning. He'll face Reggie Jackson, Greg Nettles, and Chris Chambliss. Let's pause 5 seconds for station identification. This is the Texas Rangers Baseball Network.
KXAS TV5, Fort Worth, Dallas.
Frank Lieber, Eric Nadel, John Miller. Yankee Stadium, New York City. Rangers trying to even the series at 1 game apiece. Well, Reggie's had his problems today. Hit into a double play last time up. Made a fielding error in right field, which led to one of the Ranger runs. Been on base once. That was with a walk back in the 1st inning. Rangers continue to loosen up Jim Kern in the bullpen just in case. Fooled him. 1 ball and 2 strikes. I'll tell you, Reggie Jackson can look so bad on some pitches. And then he can get up and hit it so far you won't believe it. He watched the umpire, Harold Sirocco, take a look at the baseball, and Fergie gets a new one. Fergie does not look like he has really worked up a sweat so far this afternoon. He's walked a couple of batters, struck out 3. Has not been behind on that many hitters. Bidding to become the first American League pitcher, as Eric mentioned, to go 4-0 this year. Jackson had a notion, and that missed the outside corner by an eyelash. 2 balls and 2 strikes on the leadoff batter for the New York Yankees, Reggie Jackson, here in the last half of the 9th inning. Count now full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. And the activity has now ceased in the Ranger bullpen. Outfield deep, shaded slightly around to the right side. 3-2 pitch. I don't think Bell will have a play. When Reggie swings, I mean, he creates a bit of a ripple. He really goes after it. Stirs up a lot of wind around home plate. Well, he's arguing with plate umpire Harold Sirocco about something now. Here we go. 3-2. Fergie really broke one off, and Reggie missed it by about a half a foot. How soon they forget as Jackson draws some boos. Strikeout number 4 for Ferguson Jenkins. 1 out, nobody on. Last of the 9th, Greg Nettles, the 3rd baseman. 1 for 3. Hey, Fergie is one of the fastest workers in all of baseball, no question about it. He wastes very little time. This game is just about 2 hours old now. Don't forget, Rangers home Monday night against the Toronto Blue Jays. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, very short homestand. Then on the road to Chicago for the weekend. Ranger baseball, the best buy in town at Arlington Stadium. Fergie Jenkins celebrating his 36th birthday today, going after the New York Yankees with a shutout in mind. He's 2 outs away. One and 2 count. Greg Nettles, 27 home runs last year, led the Yankees with 13 game-winning RBIs. One-two pitch. Count levels. Rangers 5 runs and 9 hits. Yankees no runs on 6 hits. Only serious New York threat in the first inning. Mickey Rivers, a leadoff triple. Now Fergie wants to talk to Sundberg. But Rivers died on third base. Here comes Bill Ziegler, the Ranger trainer, out to the mound. Let's see what this is all about. Pat Corrales on the hill. Count is 2 balls and 2 strikes on Nettles. Check and see if Fergie's all right. I don't know what he did on that last pitch, but apparently wants to finish it off. Ready to go. Hit hard. Zisk back near the track. 2 down. Last hope of the New York Yankees, the first baseman Chris Chambliss. As some of the fans now head for the exits. Of course, as they say, and as the Rangers found out against Detroit, it's never over till the last man is out. It's been less than a week ago, isn't it? 1-0 pitch. 2 balls, no strikes on the Husky first baseman of the New York Yankees. Had a couple of Ranger telecasts out of Yankee Stadium later on in the season. We'll be back here in August for a couple of midweek affairs. 2-1 pitch to Chambliss. Fergie really working on that outside corner and just missing it. 3 balls and 1 strike. Roy White, the left fielder, is the on-deck hitter. That could do it. Up. Base hit. As Wills got his glove on it, knocked it down, but couldn't make the play. So the Yankees have a life with 2 out in the 9th inning. That is the 7th hit off Jenkins. White has grounded out. He has been called out on strikes, and he is walked. Slowly hit. Wills in quickly. Tried to barehand it. The ball rolls on the short right. Zisk coming on. And moving on to third is Chambliss. Wills figured the only chance he'd have to make a play on White is if he could barehand the ball with his right hand. And missed it. Ball got underneath his bare hand and rolled on beyond him. So runners out at the corners now for the Yankees. And the hitter will be the designated hitter, Jim Spencer. Sparky Lyle gets up and begins to throw. That'll be a hit and an error. The error allowing Chambliss to go all the way to third. Jerry Narron, Yankee catcher, coming up from the bullpen. May see him for Dent, who is due up next if the Rangers don't get Spencer out to end the ball game. Lashed foul back on the screen. So the Yankees making it interesting here in the bottom half of the 9th inning. With a couple of base hits. Rangers leading 5-0. Immediately at stake, of course, is the shutout of Fergie Jenkins. That was Narron disappearing into the Yankee dugout looking for a bat. So I think he will hit for Dent. Here's the pitch. Fouled off. Jenkins ahead in the count at no balls and 2 strikes. Chambliss out at third base. White at first. Ranger infield. At normal depth, the outfield. Straight away, except for Zisk, who is pulled over toward the right field corner. Big hole in right center field. 0-2 pitch. Wide of first. Jorgensen's got it. That should do it. Fergie Jenkins gets his shutout. His 45th career shutout. And the Rangers even the series at 1 game apiece. For the Yankees in the 9th inning, no runs. They had 2 hits in the inning. There was 1 error and 2 men left on base. And I'll be back with the final totals in 60 seconds.
Be sure to join us next time when we continue down the road to the World Finals of the Compact World Putting Championship.
The next edition of the Compact World Putting Championship can be seen at these times. Check local listings for the correct time in your area. The Compact World Putting Championship by Dave Pelz was brought to you by Compact. Has it changed your life yet?
Now on Up Close, where do you go once you've been the world's #1 player in golf? Greg Norman talks about becoming the PGA Tour's all-time money leader and still being thought of the guy who couldn't win the big one. Does the memory of the Masters in '96 still haunt him today? Why was his World Tour idea criticized a couple of years ago but now put into play? Greg Norman is Up Close up next. And welcome to Up Close on the Road, the Sherwood Country Club in Thousand Oaks, California. Once again, the site for this year's Shark